Hey Geminis, and welcome to your February 2018 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to give you guys hopefully another amazing reading for your month ahead. And wow, Geminis, I'm actually kind of loving the energies coming forward in your reading. As usual, it's a defining month for you guys, and you are making a lot of changes here. A lot of changes. In fact, I feel like this is the month where the fact that Saturn is no longer opposite your sun or whatever else you have in Gemini clicks. I feel like you finally realize, oh my god, these situations that I've had going, whoa, like there's like an awakening. There's like, you finally understand what's not harmonizing in your life, and it feels like you can begin to implement a system and a structure that can get you out of it and also can transform these things to become harmonious. So ultimately what I'm feeling for February for you guys before we get straight into this reading is learning how to harmonize and learning how to click things into place. Six of Swords is your central theme this month, Gemini, which is one of my favorite cards as a reader. It's one of my connected cards. It doesn't come up that often, although I think it's come up a lot for you guys recently. But I always know when it does come up that it's a really important reading for me to give, especially in a strong position like in the center there. So this month is a month where you kind of sail away, where you kind of enter the path of transitional spiritual warrior energy, knowing what you have to leave behind and not holding on to something because of old feelings which no longer exist, not desperately clinging on to some kind of experience of life which has worn its wear on you, which is no longer a positive experience. I think that all of these experiences of 2017 of extreme constraint, feeling victimized, feeling trapped, feeling like you can't find your strength, feeling like you can't find balance or know how you feel, or health in your emotions, health in your physical body even, that Eight of Swords, the Hanged Man, strength, temperance, reversed energy. You're sailing away from that. All of these sort of difficult energies, and even these really two strong masculine figures like the King of Cups energy, King of Swords, and sort of this whole false pretense of divine soulmate energy and Six of Cups that I feel it being surrounded by the Hanged Man and Eight of Swords. You are wrapping all of this up. You're sort of packing your bags. A lot of you are moving this month. A lot of you are changing physical location. If you're not, you're changing emotional location. You're changing something really strong, very transformational. I feel like Judgment will probably come up for you in March, perhaps. But ultimately, all of these things which are under that Six of Swords, you're leaving it behind. You're knowing what you need to do to get into a better headspace. And through that, you're helping your health. You're gaining your strength back, learning how to gracefully culminate. That's been a big deal for Gemini. It's not that you're not a graceful sign, Gemini. Most of you are physically gorgeous, but sometimes there can be an energetic thing which is always necessary. And Gemini sort of introduces this really chaotic energetic spectrum that sort of destroys everything in its path. It feels like you don't have to do that this time. It feels like you can really gracefully just, pack the bag, put the sunglasses on, and walk out. It feels like that will be a really empowering situation for you, Gemini, rather than going through the house and destroying everything or causing a huge scene. It feels like graceful Gemini who knows how to put itself together and just peacefully leave a situation, leaves people with their jaws on the floor. So because I think people, here's the thing with Gemini, I think through what you've been through over the last 2 years, people are kind of expecting you to go crazy or to lash out, and they're like, my money's on that person going crazy. $5, this person goes completely off the deep end, and they're kind of just sitting and watching and kind of expecting that from you. And by being so evolved and by being so graceful in your exit, Gemini, you are making people that's what stings people. It's almost like I feel you being scorpionic, or I feel you doing what a Scorpio would do, and people are they don't even know how to respond, and they all just feel kind of stupid after you do it. So not to go too crazy with your egos or anything, but you're wrapping things up and sort of being a boss this month. Honestly, you guys are just really being showing yourselves in a way that none of us have ever seen before. So enjoy this injection of energy that you get from the universe, and enjoy the new type of persona which builds in you, which is much more Plutonian in nature, or much more towering over other people. I feel like you guys are just above so many people and really shining brightly. So anyway, Geminis, to get into your week to week so we can understand what else is coming forward for you guys, you have Eight of Swords reversed through down by Six of Cups in the first week. So completely rethinking the soulmate energy. Really, I think finding new philosophy and new energy about love, and reassessing what love or connection is in the first place, because Geminis are really coming from like that beautiful Six of Cups energy, you know, that sort of trust between two people and soul connection has always ended up in Eight of Swords somehow, or the most, I feel, potent experiences of love that Gemini has had has always put them into Eight of Swords, and you're like, how do I get past this? Is it something within me? And it is and it is not. And it's important for Geminis to be able to completely get past that. Like that sort of, can I ever have Six of Cups without Eight of Swords? Can I ever experience it? Is it just in me to always rebound from Six of Cups with Eight of Swords? And I think that we have to just get past that. We have to not delve that so much, but what we do have to do is think about the nature of the transaction itself. I mean, you see what's happening in Six of Cups. This person who is taller than the other person, the person who is above, what I was just talking about, you guys, is giving what they have to this person who is below them. So it makes sense, Geminis, depending on which part you've been in. Have you been the person that receives or the person that gives, energetically like that? And it sort of thinks like, okay, what happens when this person is no longer there to give to you? Or what happens when that other person is no longer there to take from you? You need to find solidity in your stature, solidity in your position that doesn't require that transaction to happen. Because it feels like, Gemini, you are getting more connected on the transaction of energy versus the position that you take in life. So how do other things collapse when your love relationships start? Do you lose your aspiration? Do you lose purpose by investing all of that into the other person? It feels like that's where the Eight of Swords is coming from. Once you no longer have anything to give to someone, it's like, so I must take from myself. I can't give anymore. Let me take it away from myself so that I'm still kind of doing that energetic action without actually coming out of it with anything. So just being able to assess your position is really the way I feel to overcome this. And it feels the universe will work with you halfway during the first week of February with this, like perhaps introducing some signs or some symbols from the universe of, you know, more intuitive ways of fixing this within yourself, of healing this cycle of transactions within energy, within love, within people. This can even be like family and platonic energetic transactions, but it does, to me, signal more towards deep love and deep soulmate connection. So find your stature, find your grounding, Gemini. Again, you're such mutable air energy, so it's like you get blown away so easily and are always all over the place kind of energetically. And so maybe being around fixed signs could be good, but again, I feel like it's almost better in solitude for most of February, actually, just because you are getting so many downloads from the universe. You are having a strong psychic expansion, so it might be good to not have a lot of people coloring over that, depending on you, depending on if you're that type of Gemini that can kind of, regardless of who's around you, be connected, or if you kind of need solitude, I would give it to yourself. In the second week, Geminis, you have strength rooted down by the Hanged Man reversed, so much energy. That's going to be a very defining week of this sort of ending 2017 spectrum, because again, the new year doesn't really start until March 21st, once we have an equinox, once Aries time comes around. So what needs to be purged, cleansed, and let go of at the end of this cycle before we really get strongly into the next one? You have a lot of strength coming from letting go of these constraints. So the Hanged Man reverse to me always signals us like what's keeping us tied to this old way of being, what's keeping us tied to this cycle or to this person who is not helping us to shine or to glow or vibrate in a high way. You should be able to see it. You should see the constructs. You should see where your strength is being given away. And through seeing it, you have the responsibility to change it within yourself, at least. You can't change people, but you can change yourself. You can change the way that you see things, the way that you perceive things. And that can be an issue, too, with these types of energies, is we can sometimes see a lot more clearly how other people are perceiving things to a fault, or how other people are really throwing their lives away, and it can be really easy, I think, for us to identify that and want to change it in others. But usually if we're seeing it from someone else, it means that it is happening within us. For example, like someone in a relationship, just as a hypothetical, who is like really afraid of being cheated on, or really suspicious of their significant other of cheating on them when they don't really have any proof, means that they're kind of scared of their own commitment, and that they have, even if they have really strong values of monogamy, there can be this like fear of losing control, or this fear of not being perfect. And so find what you're suspicious of others within yourself, heal it there, and if it's still there, then make the appropriate, confrontation about it. It's really important in the second week of February, Gemini, to be on the lookout for signs and symbols, as I feel like all of February deals with this for you, but it really feels like the universe is showing you something. So having that time in meditation, having that time in solitude to understand those messages will give you so much. Third week, King of Cups, rooted down by Ace of Pentacles, reversed. So emotional transactions versus physical transactions. King of Cups deals with kind of trying to shut down, or I feel like sometimes being devious. And when it's upright, it's not so devious. It can just generally speak of like a emotional control, learning control, learning to know what to say to who at the right time. Timing is always pretty emphasized with King of Cups to me. But rooting that down by Ace of Pentacles reversed, it feels to me that emotional transactions aren't happening at the right time. I see like a very emotional person who is trying to not be emotional, but when they are, it's like that extension, that connection is not happening at the right time or under the right circumstances. So reassess your emotional transactions as a person. Reassess when you're confronting people, when conflict is happening, when people are confronting you, and understand why that timing may not have been good. Understand the impulsivity of it, because I think King of Cups says that you can learn to be emotional at the right time, at a good time. I think that coming off of Saturn and Sag, for you guys, that difficult Saturn energy, there perhaps never was a great time to be very emotional, because again, Saturn is very tangible. It kind of teaches us how to live life without succumbing to our emotions. It's not that Saturn denies us emotions or even says that emotions are bad, but we just can't necessarily let our emotions rule us and take away our good experience on their behalf. So I feel like that lesson just has to come through here. Like, what did you learn from Saturn about emotional connection and emotional transaction? And how can you implement those lessons to help you here? It's like, take what you've learned. That's what I keep hearing. Like, take what you've learned. Just because you don't have that Saturn energy anymore doesn't mean that we can, like, revert. Goodness knows. We cannot. So any kind of, like, really difficult emotional energy could just be because you're feeling like free. And, I mean, of course you're free. I'm not saying that you're not free, but it's important to take the lessons that you've learned and be able to apply them. It makes it a lot easier, at least. Fourth week, Gemini's King of Swords, rooted down by Temperance, reversed. So, discernment, logic, formula. How can you become more formulaic in your thinking? How can you introduce new systems? It feels like with that being Temperance reverse connected, like it could even be your health, like your bodily systems. There's no like really strong routine. To me, King of Swords is always a push to introduce routine and system and formula into our lives. And then when you connect it with Temperance, it's like lifestyle. So like, how can you connect formula to lifestyle? It feels like you've been very intuitive with it. It feels like you've sort of gone with the flow, been fluid, just sort of checked in with your body. What do you need? Then provide it. And now it's like Saturn definitely affected that for you guys too. Like Saturn was like, no, 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 there's no spontaneity with your body. Try to give your body something consistent. And again, it's like that's being emphasized again. So there's also a need to like remember like how much you are sailing away from. Six of Swords, again, being your central theme. It's like how much you are letting go of, how much you are changing, and how much you also have to take with you. You know, like look at all the swords. It's like you're still having to take these lessons of Saturn with you. You know, like with your body, with your mind as well. Like Temperance is just balance in general, like solving the polarity. I feel like polarity might be being reintroduced at the end of February. Temperance is not about, you know, being really high or really low. It's not about polarity. So it feels like routine, system, and formula can completely solve this problem and also be quite enjoyable for you. Don't fool yourself. Don't trick yourself into thinking that this has to be hard. Like, don't make you think that, oh my gosh, it's a diet, it's the end of my world. Like, try to really enjoy the process of structuring your life, because it feels like you, Gemini, are one of the only signs who can really enjoy this, unless you get into like this Eight of Swords mentality, you know, that's like, oh my gosh, I'm so trapped and it's just so hard for me, and it's just, I could just let it all go, and I think that maybe I should try to have another soulmate connection to distract me from all of this. Watch out for that. Try to, like, take things from the ground up, like, get into the layers of your body, your person, your energy, and think, what do I need at a core level? Really work yourself up. So I have my health, I have my body. How can I work on everything that I have? Like the next layer, it's like my clothes. How can I work on that? I have my next layer, like my job. How can I make that good? Or my next layer, whatever your layering system is. Like try to go from the very internal part of your body outward. It's like if you can't even make your body function healthily, like if your hormones are all over the place because you're sleeping 15 hours and like 2 hours the next night, or because you can't eat in a systematic way, it doesn't make sense to be seeking out this major soulmate connection, because that's so far outside of you, and that is introducing catastrophic energy into your life by not being able to make systematic a very internal part of yourself, but trying to structure something so far out of you. It doesn't make sense, especially considering how much you've grown, how much you have taken, and how far you've gotten. To still be denying these very internal needs within yourself is probably the reason that things are feeling a little bit chaotic. But you know how to change it, and you know what to do, and you can really enjoy doing it. It's not even that it's that hard or that it is that much of a like life or death matter. It's just a matter of you allowing it to yourself. So that could be the whole problem. Like, why are you scared of seeing yourself thrive? You know, we're sailing into Gemini thriving. You know, we're sailing into and transitioning into you being successful and you being strong enough to continue forward. So what needs to click in all the layers of your body to make this possible for yourself? You know, you're doing it, Gemini, and it's so much more than a lot of people can even think about accomplishing. So really take your victory there, that you're lucky enough to be dealing with this, what it could feel like a crisis at the beginning for you. And overall, if you would like to get more input on that, you guys can book a private reading with me. You should be able to click the center of your screen. You can also check out the playlist to see your sun, moon, rising sign, as well as subscribe, like, and comment. It makes my day. You can also check me out on Patreon. You can get these readings early and ad-free there. It's all in the description box below. Much love to you all. I will be speaking to you soon. Bye.